You forget people's names almost instantly. Someone introduces themselves, you shake their hand, and within seconds, the name has already slipped away. This happens all the time. You remember faces clearly. You remember the conversation, the tone, even the small details of what they said, but the name just disappears. People often assume this means you don't care, that you weren't paying attention, or that you're being rude. In reality, forgetting names is often connected to higher cognitive ability. Your brain has a limited working memory, which is the mental space used to temporarily hold information. Highly active minds tend to fill that space very quickly. When you meet someone, your brain is processing multiple layers at once: their facial expressions, body language, tone of voice, the environment you're in, what they're saying, how they're saying it, and their emotional cues. All of this is happening simultaneously. The name becomes just one small piece of data competing against many others, and your brain naturally prioritizes more complex, meaningful information over a simple label. Studies suggest that individuals with stronger cognitive abilities sometimes show weaker name recall because their minds are busy building a deeper, more detailed understanding of the person. They focus on substance rather than surface-level identifiers. In social situations, this can make you the kind of person who remembers that someone mentioned their dog was sick months ago, but struggles to recall whether their name was Mike or Mark. It's not that you're bad with names. Your brain simply values meaningful data more than arbitrary tags. This becomes especially useful in professional settings. You remember what clients need, what problems they're facing, and what they discussed in previous meetings. The exact name might slip, but the important context stays. And when you think about it, knowing someone's needs often matters more than recalling their name. Your mind has long decided that storing meaningful conversations is more valuable than memorizing labels. You can always ask for a name again, but you can't recreate a meaningful exchange. Research shows that people who forget names yet retain conversations often display higher fluid intelligence, meaning they are better at solving new problems, thinking abstractly, and forming connections. Your brain isn't failing, it's prioritizing what truly matters. You also tend to prefer being alone at social gatherings. You find yourself at a party where everyone is talking, laughing, and engaging, yet you drift toward a quiet corner, scrolling your phone, observing the environment, or interacting with a pet instead. Others may see this as antisocial behavior, or assume you're awkward or uninterested. They wonder why you showed up at all. But this preference for solitude is often linked to higher intelligence. Research tracking large groups of people has found that highly intelligent individuals tend to gain less satisfaction from frequent social interaction. It's not that they lack social skills, they simply don't depend on external interaction in the same way. Socializing provides stimulation, and for many people that stimulation is necessary to feel engaged. However, highly active minds generate their own stimulation internally. They are constantly thinking, analyzing, imagining, and solving problems. External noise can actually interrupt this internal flow. In busy environments, while others feel energized, you may feel mentally drained. Your brain is already operating at a high level, so adding social demands on top of that can become exhausting. You're not avoiding people because you dislike them. You're conserving mental energy. This ability gives you an advantage in focus and independence. You can work alone for long periods without losing motivation. You can think deeply without needing constant validation. You can develop ideas in silence that would struggle to form in chaotic environments. While society often celebrates extroversion and constant interaction, many significant ideas and innovations come from individuals who spend extended time alone thinking. Your comfort with solitude reflects cognitive independence. You don't rely on the presence of others to feel complete or engaged. Your own thoughts provide enough depth and stimulation. You also tend to laugh at dark humor, even when others feel uncomfortable. Someone makes a joke about something serious or unsettling, and while others hesitate or react awkwardly, you find it genuinely funny. This can make people think you're insensitive or strange, but research suggests otherwise. Understanding dark humor requires multiple mental processes happening quickly. You recognize the serious or taboo subject, detect the unexpected twist, and then detach emotionally enough to reinterpret it as humor. This is complex cognitive work. Many people get stuck at the emotional reaction and can't move past it. More analytical minds can process both the emotional weight and the humor simultaneously. This ability reflects strong emotional regulation and flexible thinking. People who appreciate dark humor often show higher intelligence and better emotional control. They're not ignoring emotions, they're reframing them. This creates resilience. When faced with difficult situations, you're more likely to cope by finding perspective rather than becoming overwhelmed. Humor becomes a tool for processing stress. In challenging environments, this allows you to remain calm, lighten tension, and help others regain composure. It's not about being inappropriate. It's about transforming something heavy into something manageable. That mental shift requires both awareness and control, something your brain has practiced over time. You frequently change your mind as well. You form an opinion, encounter new information, and adjust your perspective. Others might see this as inconsistency or lack of conviction. They may believe you're indecisive or unreliable. But in reality, this behavior reflects intellectual honesty and adaptability. Research shows that people with higher intelligence are more likely to update their beliefs when presented with new evidence. They don't hold on to ideas simply to protect their ego. Instead, they treat opinions as temporary conclusions based on current knowledge. When better information becomes available, they revise those conclusions. This is a flexible and evidence-based approach to thinking. Many people become attached to their opinions and resist change because it feels like admitting they were wrong. As a result, they ignore conflicting evidence and defend outdated views. In contrast, your mindset allows you to separate your identity from your beliefs. You are not defined by your opinions, you are the one evaluating them. This creates psychological distance, making it easier to adapt without feeling threatened. The advantage is accuracy and growth. You correct mistakes faster, avoid long-term commitment to flawed ideas, and adjust more effectively to changing circumstances. This ability is highly valuable in dynamic environments where adaptability matters. You are not uncertain. You are responsive to reality and willing to evolve with it. At the same time, you often struggle with small talk. Casual conversations about the weather, surface-level topics, or repetitive social scripts feel draining or meaningless. You may find yourself losing interest quickly or searching for a way to shift the conversation into something deeper. Others might interpret this as disinterest or lack of social skill, but it's usually the opposite. Your mind naturally seeks depth, meaning, and substance. Small talk feels inefficient because it doesn't provide enough mental engagement. You prefer discussions that explore ideas, perspectives, or meaningful experiences. Your brain is wired to analyze, connect, and understand, not just exchange polite phrases. While small talk serves as a social bridge for many, it can feel like unnecessary noise to you. This doesn't mean you're incapable of it. It simply means it doesn't align with how your mind operates. You value conversations that challenge your thinking or expand your understanding. When those opportunities arise, you engage fully and often more deeply than most. You're terrible at small talk. Someone asks how you're doing, and you hesitate. Saying fine feels empty, but the real answer is too layered to explain in a casual moment. So you say fine anyway, and then there's that awkward silence. You dislike small talk, weather updates, weekend plans, or generic comments that don't really mean anything. It feels forced, almost like mental friction. People may assume you're socially awkward or unable to carry a conversation, but that's not really what's happening. A dislike for small talk is actually very common among highly intelligent individuals. Small talk serves a simple social purpose. It builds basic connection, fills quiet gaps, and signals politeness, but it carries almost no meaningful information. Intelligent minds are wired to seek information. They look for substance, new ideas, complexity, and depth. Small talk doesn't provide any of that. It's like empty calories for the brain, something that fills space but offers no real value. Naturally, your mind resists engaging with it for too long. Studies have shown that people who engage more in meaningful conversations report higher levels of satisfaction, and those with higher cognitive ability tend to prefer deeper discussions over surface-level chatter. In social environments, this can make you seem distant or uninterested, but in reality, you're just waiting for the conversation to reach something real. When it does, everything changes. You engage fully, ask thoughtful questions, and share ideas that actually matter. This creates depth. Instead of building countless shallow interactions, you form fewer but stronger connections. These relationships are built on understanding, not just politeness. While many people rely on constant small talk to maintain social networks, those connections often remain superficial. You naturally move toward relationships that carry meaning, even if they are fewer in number. Because of this, people who know you tend to know the real version of you, not just a surface-level personality. Your conversations reveal substance, not performance. That's rare. Your difficulty with small talk isn't a weakness. It's a kind of filter. It quietly pushes away shallow interactions and draws in people who are willing to go deeper. It shapes your social world in a way that prioritizes authenticity over quantity. You also tend to get songs stuck in your head very easily. A tune plays briefly somewhere, a store, a video, a random clip, and then it loops in your mind for hours. Sometimes it's a song you don't even like, which makes it even more frustrating. It feels like your brain refuses to let go. People might think this means you're easily distracted or mentally scattered, but that's not the full picture. This phenomenon, often called an earworm, is actually linked to higher cognitive activity. Research suggests that people who frequently experience these mental loops often perform better on working memory tasks. The reason lies in how your brain processes sound. Your auditory system stays active even after the music stops. While many people's brains quiet down once the external input is gone, yours continues replaying, analyzing, and holding on to the pattern. This is known as spontaneous musical imagery, and it reflects an active and engaged mind. Your brain doesn't just hear, it keeps working with what it heard. In everyday life, this can be irritating. You're trying to concentrate, but your mind keeps replaying the same few seconds of a melody over and over again. It's not something you consciously choose, it just happens because your brain is highly responsive to patterns. Music is essentially structured patterns of sound, and your brain is very good at capturing and reproducing those patterns. This same ability extends far beyond music. It helps you recognize patterns in behavior, data, language, and systems. Things that appear random to others often feel structured and predictable to you. This constant pattern recognition is valuable. It allows you to identify trends, anticipate outcomes, and connect ideas that others might miss. The same mechanism that causes a song to loop in your mind also helps you solve problems and notice details. It's the same system working in different contexts. You can't easily turn it off, but it serves a purpose. What feels like a distraction is actually evidence of a brain that is continuously analyzing and organizing information. You also tend to question things that most people simply accept. When someone says, "This is just how it's done," your immediate reaction is to ask why. When rules are followed without explanation, you feel the urge to understand who created them and whether they still make sense. This habit can make others uncomfortable. They might see you as difficult, argumentative, or unwilling to go along with the flow. But this constant questioning is a core feature of high-level thinking. Intelligent minds are naturally skeptical. They don't accept ideas at face value. Instead, they test, examine, and challenge them. This isn't about being rebellious for the sake of it. It's about seeking accuracy and truth. Your brain is wired to detect flaws, inconsistencies, and inefficiencies. When something doesn't make sense, you notice. And once you notice, it's hard to ignore. You're not trying to disrupt things. You're trying to understand them at a deeper level. In many environments, this trait isn't always appreciated. Systems often favor compliance over curiosity. Schools reward students who follow instructions, and workplaces often value smooth execution over questioning. But progress has always depended on people who were willing to challenge what everyone else accepted. Every major shift, every innovation started with someone asking a question that others avoided. Your tendency to question is part of that same pattern. This way of thinking leads to improvement and innovation. It pushes boundaries and exposes outdated ideas. While it may create friction in situations where conformity is expected, it also makes you valuable in situations that require change and growth. You're not just accepting the world as it is, you're analyzing how it could be better. That perspective is rare, and it's necessary for progress. Your mind doesn't settle easily. It keeps probing, examining, and refining. That can make life more complicated at times, but it also gives you a unique advantage. You see beyond the obvious. You challenge assumptions. You look for meaning where others see routine. And even though it may make you stand out in ways that feel uncomfortable, it's also what allows you to think differently, adapt quickly, and understand things more deeply than most people around you.